Hey there, Patty Dominguez here with episode 136 of the Positioning to Profit podcast. Thanks for checking out this episode. We're going to get into a little bit more of the business mindset side of things, but have no fear because it directly relates to how you're showing up in your business and the ways that you may be self-sabotaging and you're not really aware of it. So that is the gist of our convo today. It is what happens when you give in to comparisonitis, that insidious feeling that we all get that robs us from moving forward in our business because we're too busy looking at what that person's doing and why is she so popular and how did she get all those clients and why is her following so big? And what is it costing you to stay in that belief, right? So that is really the gist of it. It was very much inspired by an amazing client of mine who brought up this fact that she was in the midst of comparisonitis, which again, totally normal. I mean, let's face it, we all go through it. And what has evolved as a result of her recognizing it, having the awareness around it, and then letting go of it. Really, really powerful. So that is the gist of our episode today. I have something super exciting coming. It's called Positioning Club. And if you're interested, do join the waitlist so you are the first to know about Positioning Club. It's coming in just a couple of weeks. We're putting the final touches on it and I'm super excited about it. So yeah, positioningclub.com. All right. And with that, let's get on with the show. And as always, here we go. Hey there, I'm Patty Dominguez. You're about to discover what it means to position your brand and your business to stand out. This show explores the stories of small business owners just like you who are bringing their message out to the world and impacting their tribe. So if you want to take your business to a category of one status, then hang with me because this podcast shares everything you need to know about how to be more prolific with your brand so that you can have more profits. All right, Patty Dominguez here again. Thank you so much for checking out this episode. I think it's going to be a quick episode because I wanted to share this very enlightening moment on the Ask Me Anything call that we have in Prolific Cafe. When one of my clients so vulnerably said that she was in a space of comparisonitis and it was really doing a number on her mindset. And that is so typical, right? And I started really thinking about the fact that comparisonitis is a very real thing. It's a very human feeling. And I was thinking about, I'm like, when was the first time that I felt that nudge of comparisonitis? We talk about how it shows up for us in social media, the interactions that we're having, and just how damaging it could be when we're taking a look at the perfect lives of all of these like big influencers and how we feel about ourselves. I mean, I certainly, when my kids were younger in their preteen years, it was pretty concerning, and I can understand how that is a very real concern as parents. Comparisonitis for adults, especially as we are looking at ourselves as entrepreneurs, it shows up in really interesting ways. In the way of the quote unquote competition is so-and-so is doing a lot better than I am. Why is that? And so that's really what I want to address. But again, first is really having an understanding of like, just recognizing first and foremost that it's really normal. I mean, I remember going back as far as like way back, and I'd go to a party and I'd ask for a piece of cake and I would compare. That person got a bigger piece of cake than I did. You know what I mean? Just something as so simple, it could lead to that feeling of comparisonitis, right? It's just this little brain wiring that we have to keep us safe or to make sure that things are aligned, right? I gotta believe this is part of our reptilian brain to protect us of any potential threat. And so part of that comparisonitis process, as we're deconstructing it and how it relates to your business, this, in my opinion, is the way that it's showing up. I really think it's a strategy of judgment. And the judgment could be seen as an internal judgment. It could be seen as an external judgment because we're looking at that person. I know I've done it too, where I'm like, really? That guy is that successful? Are you kidding me? Comparisonitis. Because there's something about the way that he or she is showing up that I don't have, and I wish it was the case. And so I judge him, I judge her, I'll judge myself. How many times have you done the same, right? It's the awareness that is so key to help us move forward, and really looking it as a way of like, okay, well, if I'm too busy comparing, is there a self-sabotaging strategy that I'm deploying here to keep me in inaction, right? So that I'm not moving my business forward because somehow I have a defeatist attitude about what's going on. And I know I've done it where I felt like, oh, what's the use, right? How can I possibly compete with how that person is showing up? That's a lack mentality. So what can you do to shift it, to flip the script and show up and say, you know what? I am going to put this out there because it is mine to put out there. And so this is one of the things I was talking about on a TikTok, is just like recognizing that this is a self-sabotaging behavior. It's the thing that is keeping you safe. It's keeping you in a space where you're not taking action so that you don't fail. And recognize that this is an opportunity for you instead to take action, and for you to move the ball forward, for you to, as you know, and you've heard me say, to just ship it. Instead of seeing it as the distraction of comparisonitis, choose to seek and understand where your priorities lie and how committed are you to taking the action to move the ball forward in your business. Okay. Another thing that when you are in the space of comparisonitis, it really is taking away so much of your personal power. And as my mentor, Jim Fortin, says, it's like you're leaking your personal power, because how easily you're giving it away, how easily you're discounting the progress, really feeling proud of how far you've come. That is something that we don't do enough of, is giving yourself the proper credit that if you have been committed to your business, putting one foot in front of the other and making things happen in your own way, make sure that you're giving yourself credit. And as I mentioned, you're comparing apples and oranges, because maybe you are at mile 2 of this marathon and that person that you're comparing yourself to is at mile 22. So it's irrational to think that you could possibly compare two things that are just not the same. And at the same time, we don't know the full story of what people have endured, because I promise you, if you're in this entrepreneur space, you have gone through the ups and downs, the wall kicking moments, the moments that you're like, should I throw in the towel? It's just easier for me to be at Starbucks. I've thought about that too. And really the thing is like, don't beat yourself up about it. Just recognize that this is all part of the process. You're at mile 2. And this is most definitely a marathon. It is not a sprint. So be kinder to yourself when you're looking at that, and stop giving away your personal power, and instead look at what you are doing as the action steps to move your business forward. What's the action you're going to take today? Don't worry. Be imperfect about it. This is something that I learned because I was in a perfectionism mode early on in my entrepreneurial career, where I would over-perfect. Is it ready? Is it perfect? Let me cross that T and dot that the I's. And then I would see that there were other people in the space that would just put something out there, a little bit on the rough side. And I was judging because of it, because I'm like, oh, really? I mean, that footer doesn't even have anything, or there's some, text, it's a placeholder. Wow, this is kind of sloppy. The thing is, those people have taken action while you're sitting there talking about it and judging and comparing. Just put it out there. That's why I'm like, I'm so passionate, and I always say, just ship it. Just ship it. And then the last thing I wanted to share, sorry, I have this. So I had COVID about 2 weeks ago, and I have this lingering pesky cough that will not go away. So it's been really hard to put content out there for me, because I keep having these cough attacks. Yeah, I have to get some kind of a prescription or something. This is crazy. So the last thing for you to remember is that there is only one of you in a planet or on a planet of almost 8 billion people, if that's the number, there's only one of you. And so what if you're looking at somebody else and what they're doing, you're taking your eye off the prize and standing in your own presence and your own power? Because I always say, as I mentioned to the women in my community, Coke and Pepsi, right? Some people like Coke, some people like Pepsi. Me, I love a good kombucha. So there's room for everybody. Release the lack mentality and instead celebrate what makes you uniquely you. That is the whole premise around the importance of positioning. Because if you have positioning, there is no need to compare to anything. And remember, when everybody's zigging, you want to zag anyway. Why be more of the same? It's like you're boxing yourself into a commodity. And who has time for that, right? We're really marginalizing our worth, our magic, the thing that makes you uniquely you. And it's time to just own that space. Own the expertise. Let go of the comparisonitis. It is robbing you. It's a self-sabotaging strategy that leads to shame and guilt and misery. What's the point? So I really challenge you to take a look at it. I know that I've been there. We've all been there, right? But just choose. You recognize it, and then just asking yourself, what's a better way that I could be thinking, where I am serving myself, where I'm retaining my personal power, where I'm celebrating how far I've come. Look at how far you've come in your business. We all have a tendency to look at what we haven't done instead of looking at what we've done, how far we've come. Celebrate that more. Be in gratitude, right? That's a really big one. It's so easy to just put it off on the side and be like, yes, of course I'm grateful. No, but I mean, really be grateful for it. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the experience. And for the love of it all, decide to let go of comparisonitis, because when you do, it's magical. So I want to go back to my client that I mentioned in the intro, where she said that she was taking a look at some additional training that she had seen like a year ago. And she said she was in a way different space because it was almost like she was seeing this new training opportunity as something entirely new. She's like, it was weird. It was like I had seen it, but I didn't do anything with it. I was really in this mode of comparisonitis, so to speak. And now I'm seeing it with new eyes. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Well, you're in a really different space or in a different place because of the fact that you've worked on your positioning, you've worked on your messaging, you've worked on honing in that message to market match, you've worked on your offers. There's that pride of ownership because there's a certainty about you and a confidence that you didn't have like a year ago. She's like, yeah, that's exactly right. It feels really good. So when you're in that space and you're moving the ball forward with clarity, there's no room for comparisonitis. There's no need for it because you're going in your own lane and forging ahead on your own journey. That's the magic of deciding to let go of comparisonitis and instead getting supremely clear about the message that you have that matters. See how it all comes back down to the importance of positioning. See, I'm telling you every single time. Okay, yes, I'm super passionate about it. And I'm always on my soapbox on this topic, but it's so true. We rob ourselves. We rob ourselves of the things that makes us so special. So that is my episode for today. I hope this is of value to you. If you love this podcast, and thank you so much for those of you that comment and will send me a DM on social media and comment, what would make my day and literally rock my world, I don't know why iTunes doesn't make it easy, but if you could leave a review, that would mean so much to me. You have no idea. It helps. It helps the algorithm, and it would help me tremendously too. And I'll even give you a shout out on my show. So do take just a moment of your time, if you would, please, to leave a review. All right. With that, keep me posted. Let me know how I could support you in your business. And as always, don't ever forget your message matters. We'll catch you next time. Thank you. Hey there, thanks for checking out this episode of Positioning to Profit. Please leave a review if you have gained a benefit from this episode. I appreciate it greatly, and I will give you a shout out on the show as well. I so appreciate the ratings and reviews. Okay, also for the positioning extravaganza, head over to positioningtoprofit.com. There's lots of goodies over there. It's a treasure chest of freebies as well as beautiful courses that will help you to establish your category of one and move your brand forward. And again, connect with me over on socials or on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm on the socials, so I hope to connect with you there, and I look forward to catching up with you real soon.